My name is Ian McNaughton. This is the Ian McNaughton Show. Thank you for joining me today. We have a good episode on track here on planned out. I'm not prepared whatsoever, except for some of the notes I'm doing. We're doing a racing podcast today. It's the Spanish Grand Prix. On Sunday, we have the Goodyear 400 preview from Darlington, South Carolina, and then there's the Formula E race in Monaco on Sunday. We got all that covered. And if it doesn't sound good, if my audio sounds like shit, it's because I'm recording in my car. I'll probably put a vocal enhancer on the video when I put it in Premiere, but for the most part, it's probably going to sound like shit. But I made a promise that you guys are getting pods, so, there's some podcasts coming your way. Let's start with the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. Rain is expected for Sunday. There's a 60% chance of rain in Barcelona on Sunday. 10-mile-per-hour winds, that could have a difference as to who wins, who loses. Big change with the Circuit de Catalunya where they race at. Turn 10 is a little bit longer this year. So if you look at the old Grand Prix circuit in Barcelona, turn 10, basically you're going downhill in the DRS section. And then instead of, making the short, kind of sharp left, a snappy left, you go and make a longer left hand. It's a bit more gentle left-hander because they are using that part of the track instead of the old part of the track. There's a bunch of different ways for Formula One to use the Barcelona circuit, the Circuit de Catalunya, but this is the big change this year. Turn 10 is different. It's instead of a sharp left, it's now a gentle left-hander. The key difference, that looks like a lost overtaking zone, which kind of stinks because there aren't really many overtaking zones in Barcelona. Turn 1 after the DRS zone, and it's kind of got a quick right to a quick left. It's kind of like in Australia. I always thought like how the turn 1 into turn 2 is there. That's the only major change really at Catalunya. Lewis Hamilton has thrived in Spain before. He's won 5 of the last Spanish Grand Prix. Obviously did not win in 2016. And he's won 5 of 11 7 races at Catalunya. The one race he hasn't won was in 2016 when him and Nico Rosberg crashed out. He's looking mighty fine here at Barcelona this weekend. If Hamilton gets pole, it'll be the 100th of his career. No one else has more than 68. It could be a boring race because the Mercedes car is really set up well for Barcelona. Barcelona is a track, the Circuit de Catalunya, is a track that favors kind of balanced vehicles, not ones with high downforce, but also not ones with high speed, because you don't have a lot of straightaways in Barcelona, and you do have a fair bit of turns, a good amount of turns that require you to have the downforce. So it could be a boring race at the top of the field because usually we don't see many changes at the top. It's very hard to pass in Barcelona. Also because it wasn't a testing track this year, but in past years it's been a testing track. So people have a bunch of data and a bunch of numbers that they can crunch and they can run on what's likely going to happen, who's likely going to do what here, etc., etc. So it could be a boring race near the top. Midfield is probably where the entertainment will be at. And maybe not even midfield, maybe like 3rd, 4th, 5th, like between Norris and Leclerc. They had a great battle last year before Leclerc had to retire with an engine failure in last year's Spanish Grand Prix. Even Mazepin, he spun out yesterday, and now he spun out today, and now I don't know. The dude's dog shit. You already know where I'm coming from. So Spanish Grand Prix should be fun, should be interesting. Lewis Hamilton should win. Mercedes should be the top constructor this weekend. Barring some major collapse, I see Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes winning. Let's go to the Goodyear 400 from Darlington, the NASCAR race this weekend. Should be a good race. It's throwback weekend. So they got old paint schemes, old tires, all that sort of jazz happening this weekend at Darlington. Story to watch, Denny Hamlin. He's had a brutal luck this season. He's finished in the top 5 8 times in 11 races this season. but no wins. He's got no wins. He leads the points, I believe, right now, but he's got no wins, just 8 top 5 finishes in 11 races. Yeah, he's got 481 points this season, including 156 stage points, 5 playoff points, and he is definitely going to be someone to watch this weekend. It's been really competitive in the NASCAR world these last few weeks. We have 6 different race winners in the last 6 races. That includes Kyle Busch winning the Bushy McBush race in Kansas this past weekend. Brad Keselowski won in Talladega. Alex Bowman won in Richmond. Martin Truex Jr. won in Martinsville. Joey Logano won the dirt race at Bristol. Ryan Blaney won in Atlanta. Like, all over the field the last 6 weeks as to who could win, where everybody's going to finish. I expect the same this weekend. Kind of we'll get into it here because so right now for the NASCAR playoff standings, it's a bit early to think about playoffs. You still got some time, but essentially with how the playoff format works, it's essentially a win you're in type deal. If you get a win, you have clinched yourself a playoff spot. Unless there's at least 16 drivers, because it's a 16-driver playoff field. If there's 16 drivers with a win, then it all is based on points. If there's 17 drivers, it's also based on points. So you could theoretically not win a race, or you could theoretically win a race and not be in the playoff, but we'll see. It's still too early to just think about that. The last 4 are projected in right now if the playoffs ended today. Kevin Harvick, he's got 348 points. No wins this season. Same with Matt DiBenedetto. I can never get his name right. I'm sorry, Matt. DiBenedetto. Yeah, I can never get Matt's name right. DiBenedetto, he's got 250 points. Chris Buescher, he's got 258 points. And Austin Dillon has 295 points, but they're projecting him to be the last man in right now. None of those guys have wins. Last 4 out projected are Kurt Busch. He's got 238 points. He's got 1 top 3 finish this year. Tyler Reddick with 232 points. He's got 5 top 5 finishes this year, so either Reddick finishes in the top 5 or he's just dog shit. It never seems to be any in between. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he's got 232 points. He's led 24 laps this season. Probably needs to pick that up if he wants to get into the playoff. And Ryan Newman's got 219 points and 2 top 5 finishes. And just for fun, I'll throw in Bubba Wallace. He's the 5th man out. He's got 207 points, but no top 3 finishes, no top 5 finishes. Wallace is really looking on the outside in. We'll see if anything happens with him this weekend. Another guy I'm really interested in is Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott has no victories this season, and he was somebody who was amazing last year. I believe he won the championship last year. Excellent driver. Great to watch, and he's got absolutely no wins this year. We'll see how that goes. Last year there was 2 spring races in Darlington with the condensed COVID schedule with NASCAR. Kevin Harvick won the longer race, I believe, and then Denny Hamlin won the shorter race. The shorter race was 208 laps, I believe. It was supposed to be a 500-kilometer race instead of like a 500-mile race. It was a 500-kilometer race. It was 209 laps. And then Kevin Harvick won, I believe it was 238 laps, was the first race that they did in the COVID schedule last year. And then they did the second race that Denny Hamlin won. Also, just some summertime winners. Kevin Harvick won last year the Southern 500, 2020. So Kevin Harvick's got 2 victories in Darlington in the last year. That's something to keep an eye on this weekend. Eric Jones won in 2019. Brad Keselowski won in 2018. Denny Hamlin won in 2017. And Martin Truex Jr. won in 2016. I don't know the official lap total for this weekend, but I think it is going to be about 239 laps, approximately. Because that's what it was last year when they did the full spring Darlington race. So we'll see. I don't know for sure. Formula E. we'll talk about that for a little bit. So they'll be using the full Monaco Grand Prix circuit for the first time ever this weekend. They previously used like a shortcut down to the marina. So if you know Monaco, if you know Monte Carlo, basically, you got the really tight first turn. It's even tighter with the Formula E circuit. I'll explain that in a bit. But basically, instead of going down turn 2 on your left, there's actually a little shortcut going down to the marina on your right hand side that you don't see in the F1 circuit. But in the Formula E circuit, that's what they would use to go down to the marina. But they would miss the tunnel, they would miss the hairpin, they'd miss the chicane, they miss all that sort of stuff. But now, because of the new Gen 2 cars with its increased performance and range, the new layout will be the full Grand Prix circuit. It'll be 3.32 kilometers. Previously, it was 1.7. So they're kind of doubling it. It's a little less than doubled the distance that they're going for each lap, which will be really cool to see. There are again some slight changes happening with the Formula E circuit compared to the F1 circuit. So there's even a narrower turn 1. So, like, basically in the F1 Monaco circuit, the pit lane goes out and out and out, and then you can basically use that as your shortcut for turn 1, because turn 1 you have to go on the left side of the bumps of the basically you have to go on the left side of the bumps, and then the pit lane can go on the right, but you can't just cross over to the pit lane and go right through. But in the FE, it's even narrower. It's like an even less wiggle room on turn 1 in the FE circuit. You'll see when it happens this weekend. And I believe there's also a tighter chicane on turn 10. I haven't seen it. I'll share it if I do see it. But it's supposed to be a tighter chicane. And a noble chicane is going to be even tighter on turn 10. We'll see. Don't know for sure. Current driver standings in FE. Nick de Vries, the Dutch driver, he's got 57 points. He is 9 points out on Stoffel Vanderum. Both of those guys are the Mercedes drivers, the essential Mercedes Formula E drivers. De Vries and Vanderum, they have the top 2 spots. And Vanderum is 5 points up on Sam Bird, who does Jaguar racing. He's the lone Brit in the top 5. Sam Bird's got 43 points. In Envision Racing, we have Robin Vergens, the Dutch driver. He's got 43 points. And then back with Jaguar Racing, Mitch Evans, Aussie, he's got 39 points. So Evans is about 28 points back of... No, 18 points back of De Vries for first place. It should be a wide open race. I'm really excited to see how it goes. Really excited at the Gen 2 cars for Formula E. I'm really excited for the new Monaco circuit. I'm just excited to see how it all comes together. It might be a shit show. We've had a couple shit show races this past year, and the past season in Formula E, but I'm really excited to see how it goes. It should be really fun to watch. So if you get the chance, tune into that. Lots of great racing this weekend. You can't go wrong with any of it. That's the Ian McNaughton Show for today. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. You can listen to us on Spotify if you aren't already, or Apple Podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube. Be sure to check out our website, speakyourpiece.ca. And we have a whole bunch more stuff coming your way. It should be really good. Should be really fun weekend of racing. Again, thank you very much for listening. Greatly appreciate it. We'll try again soon. Peace out.